Hello, in this video we will be calculating the control limits for a certain type of control chart called an X-bar chart. In this example, we are saying that we have been collecting data every day for 5 days. So for 5 days we've collected data, and I haven't shown you all of the individual data points, but every day we collected 7 pieces of information. So our sample size is 7 because every day we collected 7 pieces of information. It's not 5, it's 7. Okay, so to compute the control limits, we need to know several things. We need to know X double bar. What is that? Well, we have an average from each day, and X double bar is the average of those averages. So if you add up our numbers here, we have 506.8 and divide by 5 to get the average, and so we end up with 101.36. The other thing we need to compute here is the average value of the ranges, R bar. So we have the ranges every day, and those add up to 16.9, so we divide by 5, and that gives us 3.38 as our R bar value. Now to get the upper control limit, we take X double bar plus R bar multiplied by a term called A2. And A2 has to be looked up in a table. And the value of A2 that we want to use depends on our sample size. Our sample size is 7, so in our table we want to look and choose the sample size, the A2 value that corresponds to a sample size of 7, so our A2 value is 0.42. So our upper control limit is 101.36 plus A2, which is 0.42, times R bar, which is 3.38. And to get our lower control limit, it's the same numbers, but we subtract. So average minus 0.42 times 3.38. And after we do these calculations, we get an upper control limit of 102.78, and we get a lower control limit of 99.94. Okay, so we've calculated the control limits, we could just look at the numbers. Do we have anything bigger than 102.78? No. Do we have anything smaller than 99.94? No. So we could say that the averages are under control, but it's much more effective to make a control chart. That's why we make control charts. So let me quickly graph these points. Okay, so we have graphed data points. Now we need to graph the control limits. So the upper control limit, 102.78. That's going to be on the very top of my screen. Lower control limit, 99.94. That's just right here under the term for 100. So again, looking at it, we can see we have no points above the upper control limit, no points below the lower control limit, and therefore we can conclude that the averages, the X bar values, are under control. So to summarize, every day we collected data. In this case, our data sample size was 7. And so we have the average of each period. We averaged those to get X double bar. And then we calculated a range each day. To get the R bar value, we took the average of the ranges. And then to get the control limits, we needed to know one more thing, the A2 value, which depends on the sample size n, and our sample size was 7, so our A2 value is 0.42. So using x double bar plus or minus A2 times r bar, we calculated the control limits and we graphed them, and we see again in this example, our process is under control. I hope this has been helpful.